Hello, today I'm gonna go through how to start up your profile and the main areas that you need to have in order to activate it. Well, the first thing is you need to find Nexus, which is the system that you use to update your profile. So from the main page of the university, just look up Nexus. The first result there about researcher web profiles, and then press login to Nexus. You log in using your username and password at the university. The first thing is if you want someone else to enter the information for you and you have no intention of doing it yourself, you go to admin, impersonation, and then press add delegate and find this person's name from the drop-down list. And press complete. And then you see their name listed as a delegate. When they log into their own Nexus profile, they should be able to select admin, that impersonation, and go over here and put your name and edit your profile. The career page, which is the main page on your profile, it takes information from this biography tab. Under the biography tab, you have a few options. In the overview, there's information that's actually taken from HR. So if you need to change your association, your school, you can contact HR. To change your picture, go to overview, press change picture, select file, then select a file from your computer. The file needs to be 111 by 111 pixels, and then save that and it will show here. Your expertise is essentially words that will appear on your career tab. They're used for search through the website. So if you're looking for students in these areas to find you as a supervisor, that's a handy thing to include the areas of your research in there. And you just enter any word. So the general advice is to keep it short. So if you're not sure what keywords you want on your profile, you could look in other people's at the university of similar expertise to you and what words they have in their profiles. Your academic qualifications are taken directly from HR and you cannot edit them in Nexus. So if you are missing qualification, which is common, you need to contact HR and let them know that they're missing. Once HR updates it in their record, it will flow through to your Nexus profile within 48 hours. Your professional experience will include your current UON appointment. It won't always include your prior UON appointment, so if you've been working on different contracts and some of them have terminated, they might not appear there. However, you can add your prior experience, so that could be prior UON appointments or prior external appointments and things that you do outside of the university, even right now. To do that, you just press add experience, your position title, type, so you have the option to select academic appointments, memberships, professional appointments, and teaching appointments. If you do select academic appointment, then many of these options you'll be required to fill up as well. But if you select professional appointments, then some of them will not be relevant. So if that's an appointment from outside the university, you won't be required to, for example, fill in your appointment level. So that's more for an academic, as well as the discipline. But if you include an academic appointment, then you need to know what those are. You won't be able to move forward unless you fill them up. The organization is, again, you have the option of using existing organizations within the system, and there are quite a few updated there. But it may also be that you're looking for a specific body within an organization that you want to appear, and then you can add a new organization. So for example, if I'm trying to add in my University of Newcastle appointment, so you can see there are quite a few bodies within the university, so I can select one of those. So if I'm selecting one for Center of Teaching and Learning, for example, I can just select an existing one, and it pre-fills the information. But if my body does not exist here, I can select Add New Organization. You can include a website, but you don't have to. You will be required to enter the country and the type of the organization. And again, you select from a drop-down list. You can add a department, but this is not mandatory. So if you don't know the department, or you just don't want it to appear on your profile, then you can just click Next. Same for description. If you want a description to appear in your profile, then you can include one here. If you don't, you can leave it blank. When you press Complete, and you should be able to see it immediately here on the list. If you want to edit one, so I can go back to this one, press Edit, and it takes me back to that same pop-up window. If at any point in the process you press outside the box, it will just lose all the information. So try to stay within the box while you're entering data, especially if you're entering a lot of data, because you will lose it. For UON appointments, so that's one, right? You can't delete them, and you can't really edit most of the information. So even if I press Edit, I can't really make any changes in there. Okay, I can see them, but I can't edit. The one thing that you can do is add a description. So if the UON appointment is too general and you would like to provide more information about what you do at the university, you can add a description, and that will save and appear on your profile. If you don't want your UON appointment to appear online at all, you cannot delete it, but you can make it private by pressing this little eye icon. Once you've pressed it, you'll see that it's private. Manual entries can be deleted. So if I added this a couple of years ago and I no longer need it on my profile, I'll just press this little bin here and delete it. Once you've deleted it, you can't undo it. You can just re-enter it. Okay, the next option is fields of research. Now your fields of research, they're used for ERA, which is why they're one of the required parts of your profile. So if you could, if you're not sure what the relevant fields of research for you are, just find them on the university's website. There's a list. So, for example, for humanities and creative arts, there's a cluster there. And you can see all the fields of research that there are. You can have up to 3 in your profile. And you need to assign a percentage for each of the numbers. So I'll just add one in. So for example, I select statistics, not elsewhere classified. The number is 010499, and they each have a number. And for example, I do that 50% and complete. And then I'll need to add another one at least, because they have to add up to 100. So I'll add statistical theory for the rest of the 50%. So again, you can have up to 3, and they need to all add up to 100%. And they will also appear on your profile. The next important option is your biography. That's quite self-explanatory. You just enter your own biography. The one thing that is important to note with the system, sometimes when you copy and paste from maybe a Word file, it will the fonts won't come through as you want them. So what I usually do is I select all and just make sure that it's all in the inherited font and inherited size. Or if you want a different font, you can select that font. But it's best if you do select the whole text and make sure it's all in the same font, because sometimes in copying and pasting you lose that. And at the end, make sure you save. If you don't save, you lose it. There are a few other options that are not as important, but for some people's research, that would be more meaningful. So you can add your teaching. The system, when you add teaching, doesn't really recognize courses, so you'll need to just enter the details of your course and the dates. And that is quite similar to what we've done for experience. Okay, so you need to select the dates when you were teaching and your role. Institution, again, you can select from a drop-down list, or add a new institution if it's something from outside the university. The system doesn't really have existing courses. You'd need to add your course. No need to add a URL, you can save it without it. And a description if you'd like to have a description, but you don't have to include a description. Okay, your groups and centers are managed by RPS. So if you think that you should have groups or centers here, you need to email us, and we can add you to those groups. So that includes priority research groups and other research groups. I think that's biography. Next we'll look at supervision. So your UON administered supervisions will flow through from the university system, so from NewStar and into here. So if you think that you have a current supervision that should be on your profile and isn't there, you need to contact the graduate office and make sure that their registration is accurate. And once they update it there, you will be able to see it in Nexus 48 hours later. For supervisions that you've been involved in before you joined the university, or ones that are just not administered through the university for some other reason, you can add a manual record. Just press Add Student. Now, a common issue that people encounter is that the system does require a lot of information about your supervision. And while NewStar has all that information, sometimes you yourself won't have the exact percentage, for example, in the supervision that you provided, if someone else was also supervising the same student. but the system will require that. However, not all the information will appear on your website. So if you're mostly concerned about what it's going to look like online, then some of it is not necessary. So the system would require that you know the first and last name of the student, the level of study, so it could be master's, PhD, honors, the discipline, your role in supervising the student. So you could have been a consultant supervisor, co-supervisor, principal supervisor, or sole supervisor. And there are no other options, so you need to select one of those. And if none of them is exactly accurate, select the nearest one. With percentage, you will be required to enter a percentage. If you're not sure what it was, just enter what you think it would have been, the nearest number that you can think of. The system also requires that you have a date of that the supervision commenced and the date it was completed. If you're not sure about the exact date, use the dates to the best of your knowledge. And you will need to include the title of the project. Now, from the information in this on this page, what you will see online is the research title and the level of study and the year. So these three need to be as accurate as you can. Definitely include a title, okay? Because what you see is not the name of the student, you see the title of the research. For institution, you can use an existing institution or add a new one if the institution doesn't appear in Nexus. You can include a description, but it's not required. So with supervisions, you will see a list of your UON administered as well as manual supervisions in this page. The manual supervisions you can edit and delete. The UON administered ones you cannot delete. If you don't want them to show on your profile, you can toggle the privacy. So just hit that eye icon here to make it private. And once it is, you'll see the word private here, so you know that it's been set up that way. Next, we'll look at grants. So again, grants that are UON administered will flow through from RIMS. That's the system that's used to manage your grants, your research grants. But some grants are not HERD-C grants, and therefore they're not managed by the research team, and those grants won't appear. One frequent example is some school grants that you would know that you have, and they've been administered through your school but not through the research office. They won't appear on this page, but you can add them manually. So just press Add Grant and fill in this information. So the title, the types that you see here are, they're the ones that are used by the research office. Sometimes they won't be relevant for the ones that you manually entered, but you can select unknown or external. Okay. Funding status, whether it's active or you're entering a completed grant. The total. Your role, so you could be either lead or co-invest on the grant. and the duration, so the start and end date for the grant. You can include your project team if you were part of a team. And then there's room to enter an external reference, but these two are not required. So you can continue without them. For the funding body, you can select from those that are within the system. If the relevant body is there, but if you received a grant from a body that's not yet in Nexus, you can add them by pressing Add New Funding Body. Funding scheme is required, and again, there may not be a scheme that's relevant for your grant. You can always press Add New Funding Scheme and add the information there. Just create a new scheme. The institution is not required. Description, you can include a description if you want one to appear on your web profile, but you don't have to include one. Okay, so UON grants, so those that flow through from RIMS, you won't be able to delete them, but you will be able to make them private by pressing the eye icon. Grants that you manually entered, you can delete. Okay, just press this and delete. Once you've deleted it, the only way to bring it back is to re-enter the information. Publications are not managed in Nexus, so you need to enter them in Neuro. What you can do in Nexus is just decide which of your publications you want to appear on your web profile. So if, for example, I don't want this one, the second one, to appear on my profile, I just select, press this eye icon and set it up as private. But if you want to add or remove publication, you'd need to log into Neuro and make the changes there. Once you change it in Neuro, it would take 48 hours to update your web profile. So today we focused on the common areas that you need to have on your profile. If you want to include more areas, you can feel free to do that, and there are user guides online.